Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday Night Wisdom Share Sacred Practices. Thank you. And I think we tried that, but welcome to Wednesday Night Wisdom Share Sacred Practices. We're so glad that you're here. I'm so excited to have Gail tonight. I love when she shares. The wisdom is definitely deep, deep understanding of this connection with the soul and the complexities of that and also the simpleness of that. So I'm so excited to hear you tonight again. So thank you so much. And I'm excited to hear about some of your offerings too. I know you're offering some workshops coming up and stuff like that. So make sure you tell us about that, right? Okay. So good. So thank you. Next week, let's see. Oh, I'm doing it next week. I'm doing one on the vibrations of, or the practices of gratitude. Go figure, right? A couple days before Thanksgiving. And, or is it the day before Thanksgiving? I think it is. Yeah. So gratitude, love, and abundance. And I'm going to do a little workshop process about expanding the vibration energy of gratitude. And I know we all know about it, but I like to sometimes there's a lot of things we forget to be grateful for, and so just kind of hanging out in that vibration of gratitude. I'm going to talk a little bit about how we can, I love, like in the Course in Miracles, it talks about a miracle is just a change in perspective, the angle and the way we're looking at something. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But, even being grateful for the things that, were challenging for us, the love that we've had in our life and the loss, and just having some deeper understanding around all that. So that's what we'll be doing next week. And of course, I'm going to do a little guided meditation with that too. So please come next Wednesday. The following Wednesday, which is the 1st of December already, I can't believe it, we're going to have Reverend Vince Kiefner, and he's an amazing teacher. He's a very, very clear teacher, always in principle, and he was going to send me his, I was hoping he was going to send me his title for next week, or for the next Wednesday, but I didn't get it, so. Other than that, this Friday, actually, I'm doing a sound bath right here in this very room. And we're gonna have it at 6:30 this Friday, and that's also going to be on the vibrations of gratitude. But it won't be like a share. It's going to be more just we kind of aligning in that vibration and kind of opening up to that and the essence of that. So that's going to be this Friday. So come if you can. We are, another announcement is our whole spiritual community here is supported by our loving donations, and so we really appreciate your generous donations, whether you're here in person or whether you're online. We appreciate your support. Our spiritual community has made it through this pandemic. Yay! But we still need to stay diligent with that because it's just, in order to keep everything running smoothly. We also are teaching of the law of reciprocity. As we give, so shall we receive. As we receive, so shall we give. So we stay in that flow and the dynamic energy of giving and receiving. And I know tonight we're going to get a wellspring of receiving. So we also split the offering with our facilitators. So thank you again for that, for your generosity. Jeff is going to put up on the screen the text to give. It's 760-389-1333. If for some reason you're here and you'd like to use text to give, I can tell you how to do it. I'll have the paperwork over there. Or you can go to our website at www.cslps.org, and you can donate there too. So thank you very much for that. So I thought I'd start with a quick little centering practice, just to get us settled and centered. Take a few breaths and be here now, and be open and receptive to all that we're going to receive this evening. So let's begin just by observing our body, just sitting here, wherever you find yourself. You're just taking a few conscious breaths as we give ourselves permission to stop everything and to be here now, in this moment, in this sacred space, knowing that we're creating and co-creating a sacred circle this evening, whether we're here in person or online. We're all connected in the one consciousness. As we quiet and still our mind, we align the center of peace, a sanctuary within our own heart. In this place of alignment, we align with the beloved presence, the divine presence, the essence of our true self, the soul that is always here, always yearning to grow and to expand and to express. And so I know that right now we are creating and co-creating a sacred space together this evening. For each one of us is here on purpose, no matter where we are. That we're here on purpose to hear exactly what our soul and our heart needs to hear for our own journey, the ever-expanding journey of this beautiful expression of life that each one of us is. So I know in this place of alignment, we are open and receptive to receive exactly what we need to hear and to know. And so we now surrender, so we let go, we allow this beloved presence, this spirit to have its way, so we can surrender it now completely. Allowing spirit to have its way, we claim it together by saying, and so it is. Yay, so, Gail, thank you. You're up.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much.
We'll give it one more try and see if this works. If not, I always believe that it's divine providence, when things work all the time and then they stop at one moment. It means that I'm supposed to share with you something else. All right, sounds good. First of all, I'm delighted to see my dear friends and students from Cal State San Bernardino, the Palm Desert campus with Ollie. So thank you for coming. And I know there are a few people online who have decided to join us as well, and I thank you for being here too. So what has happened is that I made this PowerPoint presentation for you on the soul. I also made a companion learning piece for the series for the soul. And this is what we're going to talk about tonight. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about who I am, what I'm doing. My name is Gail Crosby, and I have been studying universal wisdom for about 20 years now, formally. I've been teaching, and recently I I felt that because of the situation in society, the complete chaos that's happening, and our utter inability with what we have learned spiritually now to confront it, to say, what is happening and how can what we know spiritually help us to move through this? And I could see that those of us who even have been in spiritual practice for a very long time, we're stumped. So what I decided to do was to create a workshop with it's a three-part series. It's called The Key. And it's called The Key, Unlocking the Mystery of the Divine Human Potential. This series is about our current human state, and a couple of times I've talked a bit about the current human state that we're in, and why. The second series is, picture this in blue, and this is going to talk about how the divine standard operating procedure works, and I'll explain that in a minute. And then the third one and this is a graduated study, the third one is green, and it talks about how we participate with the divine standard operating procedure. So what I'm going to teach you and talk to you about tonight actually is from the third series. So you're going to get a little sneak peek into the last of the three series. But that's because Mark asked me to speak about the soul. Why is humanity failing so miserably now? We are using a human standard operating procedure to make decisions and to guide us in a world that is governed by a divine standard operating procedure. You can see that humans are flawed, and we're flawed because we don't know. We are still ignorant that we are ignorant of the perspective that we have on this world. We only see ourselves from the perspective of us being on Earth. And we look up, and the perspective is the moon, the sun, the stars, and that's as far as we know. We can trust the scientists to say there's planets out there, but that is our perspective. And that perspective limits us so much because what the divine perspective is the entire thing. Now, the slide I was going to show you shows us the perspective from the divine standpoint, not the human standpoint. So let me see if I can draw you a picture. I know what I'll do. Here, would someone pass these out? I'm sorry for those of you who are online, you're not going to probably be able to see this. But for those of you here, just take a peek at the picture on the cover of this. So what you're seeing is a picture. Let's take the background first. The background of this picture is gray, and it represents infinity, eternity, the unknown for us. The white world above represents what we call a far-sighted world. Some people call it the subjective world. I'm changing the term. So that we see that this is a far-sighted place, which is the realms above. The green is our earth. That represents our earth. And so the perspective now that we're looking at is not only the realms below earth, which are unknown. So in your mind, just put the word unknown where you see Gail Crosby, and then put the word unknown where you see the word the human soul. So the perspective that we have now is that we're looking at a very small space encompassed in this infinite unknown. So the reason that's important is that if we continue to look at this world from a human perspective, we are always going to fall short. It's like the ant standing on a train track with a sign that says stop, and the train is coming, and obviously the ant is smashed. Well, that's exactly the position that we are in today in society. And why are we there? Because the human has not developed past understanding its fingers, its toes, its cellular system, its brain functioning. It understands that we have ideas and thoughts, that actions create consequences, but we do not understand 2/3 of what makes us humans. We only know 1/3 of what makes us a human. What is that 1/3? It's our body. And even in that, we only see our skin. We can't see all of the intricate workings of our body. So, from the perspective of a lot of people, if they can see something physically, they believe that it's real. But if you can't see it, touch it, feel, smell, then it's discounted, right? Is that how most people are? You show me the reality of it and I'll believe it. So what we as humans need to do is to take that very next step in development and to say that, yes, we have a body, but we also are more than the body. In fact, the body is just a vehicle. What we really are souls. Well, what is a soul? What's the difference between spirit and soul? What are the faculties of the soul? What is the purpose, the reason, the meaning of the soul? So, again, I want you to look at your picture. And Jeff, if you want to take a close-up of this, maybe for the people who are at home, they can see this. Got it? Okay.
I just posted it on the page too.
Oh, good, thank you. All right, so there are two tools to understand that which we cannot understand, that which we cannot see or hear or comprehend with the physical senses. And that is perspective and symbols. So I've just given you a perspective that perhaps you haven't thought about before, and that is the perspective of everything from the divine standpoint. Okay, so now we've got that. The second thing that we're going to do is talk about the symbol of the divine, that which is, that which has been, that which will ever be, that which is this great mystery. That symbol, you'll see, is the shape, the image here, right? What is the nature of the divine one? Well, I've coded it for you in color, and in symbol. And the first part of the nature of the Divine One is the mind. The Divine One has a good and true mind. The second part, second aspect, and the nature of the divine is a beautiful heart. And the third aspect is the will to do good. Now, in this picture, you'll see that there are three figures together. The first one is the yellow figure holding hands with the white figure holding hands with the green figure. The green figure is the body. The yellow figure is the spirit. So, from a divine perspective, what is the idea of a human from a divine perspective, since the divine created us? Well, the divine idea of a human is one that has a spirit, which is, as you can see, also mind. The yellow mind, in the image of the Divine One, corresponds with the yellow of the spirit that is you. This spirit that is you is your highest mind, but it's formless. This highest mind that is yours, that's in you, has all knowledge of its potential. Now, the divine idea for a human and for the divine is to manifest goodness, truth, beauty perpetually, both from the form of an idea and then actuality, in reality, on this planet, on Earth, in a material form. Let me give you an example. Let's take a tree, the idea of a tree. So we go outside and we can see a tree, correct? But the idea was first. The idea in the mind of the divine was to have the idea of a tree, all kinds of trees, but then to manifest it into reality. And we see that today. We're living on it. So how does the divine take the spirit mind, the higher spirit mind, and create it so that it's in a physical body in reality? It creates a soul. The soul can verge with the above, the far-sighted world, the world of ideas, and the world, the formless world that we cannot see, we'll call it heaven. And it has the ability to verge with the earth. It's in the midst between the two, okay? Now, the soul is said to be made in the image of God. How is that so? Well, your soul has a mind. Your soul has a heart. Your soul has a will. Your soul, is made in the image of God with those three faculties. Now, the spirit is the first of you. The spirit is perfect. You, as spirit, are perfect and divine. You have absolute potential, eternal potential. but you don't have a vehicle in which to express yourself. So the spirit mind, the higher mind, has a soul. He loves the soul. The spirit mind is the bridegroom, and the soul is the bride. Now, the soul has its own mind. It has its own good mind, but it converge with the above and it converge with the below. It hasn't quite figured out who it is yet. And it hasn't quite figured out that it's a part of spirit, that those two are connected. So, the divine idea is that the spirit mind of a human embodies a soul with its mind. Now, there's two minds. There's the divine mind of the spirit, and there's the soul mind. The soul mind is what you're using right now to listen to me, to think about what your thoughts are. That's your soul mind. You also have a heart. You have desires. Now, those desires can verge to the above and all that is good and true and beautiful, which is in your nature, the nature of your soul, or it can ignore those things and get caught up in that which is material, error, trying to be having gratifications that are not balanced. But we also have a will. The soul has a will. Now, in order for the spirit and the soul to unite in a body and come to earth and experience the earth and learn the difference between the nature of the good, the true, and the beautiful, and the nature of that which is not, now you see who you are. You thought you were a body, and you knew you had a soul, but you may not have understood what your soul is, and now you know you have a spirit, and you know the difference between them and how they work together. So, I would like someone to please show me your mind. Not your brain, and not a thought. Would someone like to show me their mind? Okay, no one is showing me their mind because it cannot be seen. Now, do we have minds? Yeah, but how do we know we have a mind if you can't see a mind? Okay. All right, now I got it. Mark, show me your emotions, the force of your emotions. I'd like to see. Oh. Not the face, not a facial expression. I want to see the emotion, the force of the heart, the emotion inside of you. Can you show it to us?
Without expressing?
No expression. That's just an outward show of the emotion. Suffice it to say, Mark cannot show us emotion. Okay, now I'm going to ask Margot to show us will. Can you show us your will?
It would be through action.
Yeah, but you can't use action. Okay, so what about you is unseen? Your spirit, your soul, and all the stuff that's inside your body that the skin is covering. So if we deny Anything that we cannot see, smell, touch, feel, taste, we have to deny ourselves. So it's not so much of a stretch anymore to think that there might be a divine intelligence greater than ours. Did you create the idea of the universe? Lauren? Did you create the idea of life and death? How about the idea of the seasons? How about time? Did you create time? How about gravity? Anne probably created gravity, and she's just being, nice not to say it. Well, obviously, 2/3 or more of who we are as humans cannot be seen, and they are the most valuable part of us. So, let's go back to what is wrong with the world today. If humans are in charge of other humans and trying to lead them using human thought, which says there is nothing that exists that is not physical, we don't believe in anything, then how well are you going to be led? So, my cause is for us to understand, not to chastise ourselves as humans, but just to recognize where we are in our own human development. And just as we go from an infant to a toddler to a preschooler and so forth, so do we go through this natural process of human development that the divine has created for us. So what is our permanent contact with the divine? What permanently contacts us, connects us with the divine?
Would it be our mind?
You're close. It's the soul. The soul is what connects you to the spirit mind, and the soul is what connects you to the earth. And so your soul is very, very important. Now, I'm going to do something that I was going to give this to you all to take home with you, but now I think I'll just go through it. And you can each have one, and those that are listening and would like to have a copy, just go to my website and send me your address, and I'll mail one to you. I think I would like to read this.
What's your website again?
Oh, it's www.thekeyunlockingthemystery.com. Okay. Knowledge of our soul is unfolded over time. The Key, Unlocking the Mystery of Our Divine Human Potential, Series 3, develops our ability to participate to one degree or another in the divine standard operating system. Our human ability to positively and happily share in the fullness of life on earth requires a slow, steady, and systematic maturity of our minds from infancy to adulthood. That same mind is our soul's mind, which likewise must slowly, steadily, and systematically learn about itself and then its higher self. Right? So let's go on. First, discoveries. To reach self-discoveries, we must think. Do we have the faculty to think? What were we given? A mind. Okay, so if we have to use our mind to think in order to develop. How many people in our society today think? How many think for themselves? How many use their own good mind? How many just take what someone else says as fact? How many can look at another side and say, maybe it's a little bit of both? So we have to learn to think. To think, we must have a safe, quiet space in which to do so. Now, having a physical place is wonderful, but as life doesn't always allow this luxury, our soul minds offer us a mental place which is always available. So, where does the soul, with its mind, what faculty does the soul with its mind use to connect with spirit mind, its higher mind, its true self? What do you use? Mind. Mind to mind. The mind is the connecting point. The soul mind that I'm talking now can connect with my spirit mind. That's the purpose. So let me just go on. I hate just reading things, but I think this is a good thing to do. As you understanding that mental space, as you know, to be human means you are equipped with a spirit, soul, and body, which together make up you. Your body is made of the earth, and its purpose is to be a vehicle for your soul while on earth. Your soul, with its faculties of the mind, heart, and will, correspond to the image of the Divine One and its mind, heart, and will. This is why it is said, the soul is made in the image of God. Now, two minds reside in your soul. I just told you. What are the two minds that reside in your soul? Your spirit mind, which is the higher mind, that's you, and your soul mind, that's also you. Both are you. Now, here's the crux of it. Both are you, intimately, uniquely, and inseparably you. So you may think, the world may think, we may say, I don't believe in anything above the divine, anything I can't see. Well, the most important part of you is unseen. The second most important part of you is also unseen. And the three faculties of your soul are all unseen. So we are intimately, uniquely, and inseparable with all these three distinct aspects of a human being. Have you ever been taught that? Has the world ever been really taught that? Because if we knew that, we would look at our lives from a completely different perspective, right? So, your soul mind is that which you are using to read these words and which produces the thoughts you're thinking now. Figuratively speaking, your spirit mind, your higher you, is lovingly observing you, its own dear soul, now, from within and from without, from above and below. It knows full well what you are thinking, feeling, and contemplating doing. It knows and sees perfectly your inner and outer life from a 360-degree perspective, even to the number of strands of hair on your head. The spirit lives silently and alone until its companion soul freely readies herself to join her mind to his. Isn't that amazing? But it's true. The great love the spirit mind has for its soul is due to its divine knowledge of what you can be together. When spirit and soul are married, united in a body, planted on earth, the reason, meaning, purpose, and ultimate goal will be crystal clear. A divine progeny, a child, a one of the one, a human child of the divine lives in material form on a material planet in a material universe. The ultimate expression of divine love, once only a divine idea, is now a divine reality. This is the purpose for your existence. This is the purpose for our world, is that we manifest who by decree, by divine decree, we are meant to be. So I'm going to show another picture. Jeff, if you want to zoom in closely. The caption says on the first part where there's divine spirit. Oh, one more time?
Yeah, let me just make sure I got it.
All right. All right. This all would have been beautifully done on slides, but sorry, didn't work. Next time. As you can see in the drawing, the human soul mind here is unaware of the human spirit mind. On our earth today, in society today, how many people do you think fit in that category? Okay. Yeah. Now, the second one is the human soul mind is consciously united with the human spirit mind. And oh, look, there's a mental space. And what happens when the soul and the spirit mesh and the minds intertwine? How does the soul perceive the world? How does the soul do business? How does the soul govern other people? What are the goals of the soul when the spirit mind is united and they are seeing as one? Imagine that. Okay. Now, the reality is this is a love story. This sacred mental space can only be created by the human soul. Analogically speaking, the spirit mind never invades the soul mind. The spirit understands his soul is free to open or close her mind to him. Therefore, the spirit mind, albeit already dwelling within the soul herself, waits patiently and in silent respect to be invited to reveal himself, and even then, ever so slowly and gently. The spirit knows his trust must be earned, and harder this, as the soul in her bodily form cannot see him with her eyes, hear him with her ears, touch him with her hands. She must find the key that unlocks the way for them to communicate. Only by this key can they begin to know one another and finally, freely unite together. The way is simple to describe. It is when the soul's mind, heart, and will respond with equal intensity through reason, desire, and action that the electric plug finds the electrical socket, so to speak, and the light goes on. They are plugged into one another. This, then, is what the great mystics of all religions mean when they talk about the mysteries, mysticism, and the human mystical faculty of the conjoined mind, heart, and will. Okay. For us, for the world, they would say, wow, this is not normal. I have to be a super person to do this. I have to be a sage or a saint or a wise person. I've come to earth like 1,000,000 times. No. This is not abnormal. This is normal. But remember, we're viewing the world and ourselves now from the divine perspective, not from our perspective, which is flawed and immature. Even though we're cute, we're still immature. This way, from the divine perspective, is normal, natural, and meant to be. Even as an infant normally and naturally uses its physical faculties to develop into a mature physical adult human. There is a normal standard operating procedure, a definite process by which human development is advanced. There is no great mystery concerning the fundamental biology of the human species. Today we are, analogically speaking, in awe and wonder of our fingers, toes, brains, and cellular systems. We recognize we perceive ideas, have thoughts, feel desires, outwardly act, which results in consequences. Now here is the crux. The next phase of human development requires that we know we have a spirit, a soul, and how to connect these two to the body, which we are already familiar with. Can you see where we are? Isn't it clear now where we are societally, pan-humanity's development? But can you see where we're going? Can you see that we're going to that next developmental phase, which is normal and natural? We all can do it. We all have every faculty we need. We need to have everything we need. So let's talk about how we do this. Practical advancement. If your own good soul mind has reasoned that all this may in fact be what is, and if some or all of it may indeed be true, and if your mind, heart, and will altogether consent to taking that first step forward toward your own natural and normal human development, then you can choose now or at any time to begin the process. And I'm just telling you my own simple approach to it. The thing is, you can adapt it, you can use it, you can try your own way, you can do whatever. This relationship is between you and you. So all I say all the time is, beloved spirit, I open my mind to you. That's it. Okay, that was it. Sincere, pure of heart, real. Okay, now, once I say I did that, there's a book for all pregnant mothers and fathers of with pregnant wives or women. It's called What to Expect When You're Expecting. So now we sit here, we've said this. Now what happens? And I tell you, there's this must-read book, What to Expect When You're Expecting. It's a perfect analogy for the interior process of birthing a new being, which is precisely what you are doing. Who is the new being? You. The higher you, the conjoined you, the real materialized you. That's who you're birthing. We can think of the spirit mind as the the soul mind as the egg, and the human soul itself as the womb. The child that will be birthed will be determined by the way the mother soul nurtures her fetus. If mother soul unites with father spirit with all her mind, heart, and will, the birth of their child will produce a new being, the divine human child, a one of the one, a child made from divine love. Thus the term making love takes on a sacred and profound meaning. We have been told by those who know, by the spiritually wise of every age, culture, and religion, that if we seek, we will find. If we knock, the door will open. This is an act of faith. However, like the newly impregnated mother, it won't be long before she knows. And this without seeing, hearing, feeling, smelling, or touching the babe that is living now inside her. Any of you who've been pregnant, you know, right? Likewise, you will know too. Now, what do we do? I asked the question now. I said what to expect while you're waiting. Now I'm asking, what do we expect while we're waiting? Nothing. Expect nothing. Expect nothing that you already know. This process is brand new for your soul mind, but it is good, true, beautiful, unitive, filled with divine love, wisdom, and power. This is a unique, intimate relationship, and this part between the you that is thee, spirit mind, and the you that is me, soul, cannot be standardized. Create the space and send the heartfelt invitation. Smile and go about your way. You won't have long to wait. Now, for those at home, this next page offers you a journal to write out what happens. So I'm just going to give you the instructions for it. First of all, you repeat your invitation. Beloved Spirit, I open my mind to you, or whatever you'd like to say. Expect nothing, simply go along as you usually do. Now, observe everything only through your mind, heart, and will. Exclude all of your physical senses for now. So, write down any idea that may come to mind. Start with one idea and think it through. I'll show you the process on the next page. Think about that idea for about 5 minutes, then go on your way. Continue to consciously keep the door of that space open. Now, this seems pretty easy, doesn't it? I mean, I'm not asking you to meditate for hours. I'm not asking you to, not drink beer or wine or whatever it is, or smoke or chew tobacco or whatever it is you're doing. I'm not asking that. I'm only saying open your mind and then see what happens. Because the Spirit is not any place outside of you. It's already in you. It is you. And it loves you. And it's wooing you. It woos the soul. It loves the soul. It's mentoring you. It's saying, here, let me guide you. Instead of doing this, what if we did this? But that relationship takes a long time, but if you are steady and if you have ceaseless effort, you will unite with yourself. That's what it's meant when they say you have a lower self and a higher self. So that's the first journey, part of your journey. The first journey is uniting with God, the spirit mind that's already living inside of you. We're always talking about union with God, union with the divine. What is that? It's the union of the divine in us. That's why we have divine human potential, because that's who we are. So, just for the people at home, I'd like to just run through this divine standard thought process. And again, if you'd like one of these, just email me and I'll send it to you in the mail. But this is not the human standard thought process. This is the divine standard thought process that goes along with the divine standard operating procedure. It'd be nice for us to know it, wouldn't it? Then we have the thought process that the divine is using to operate all of the universe and all that is within inside of us. It's a really important key, isn't it? So, what we do is we begin with an idea. For example, the idea, as you're communicating, as you're creating that space, an idea may come. It could be the idea of your spirit mind. It could be the idea of your human soul. It could be the idea of your human body and its purpose. It could be the idea of who you really are. So what you need to do is let the thoughts gather in your mind. All very normal, easy. Don't have to light candles, incense, nothing. You just are. Now, those thoughts are gathering in your mind, and you observe any desires which may spring from these thoughts. Once observe any impulse to act or not act based on these desires. Now, if you acted or not, observe the effects of your action or inaction. That is a practical way to speak the language of the divine that lives within you and governs all of this. Now you have a way to communicate. You have a connecting point that is real and true, and it connects all things with the divine and the divine that is in you. So, it's a profound moment when you realize that you are so much more than a body. You're so much more than a mind even, or a heart, or a will, or emotions. The potential that you have for goodness and truth and beauty and creating love and wisdom in this world and inside of you is infinite. That power exists within you. But just as a child who wants to be a surgeon one day and has the little, goes to Walmart and buys the little kitty, medical box and pretends to do all of these things with the medical tools, so do we have to grow and become this. This is an eternal journey. It's not tomorrow, but it is every now moment. Every now moment you can connect with you, your higher you, your spirit mind. So I've broken my own rule and taken you further into the series, like at the end. But I think it's a really good thing to know, because when you start back again, this is a foundation, really, and I think this is one of the reasons probably why my computer didn't work, is because nothing makes sense unless we know this. How can we move forward unless we know? We can walk because we know we have feet and toes. Feet and toes. We can know we can do stuff because we have fingers and hands. We're now at that level. We have a spirit. And we have a soul. And they all work together. This is what is so thrilling and exciting, because you don't have to believe by faith. It's self-evident, correct? Does anybody doubt you have a mind? Well, sometimes I doubt that I have a good mind, but all right. Does anybody doubt that you have a heart or emotions or desires? Does anybody doubt that you can decide and choose to do one thing or another? The next leap is not a leap of faith. It's a leap of reason. It's a leap of reason that some source greater than us, thank God the nature of that source is good, true, and beautiful. Just imagine if it wasn't. So, what do we do now? We work on us. We have to know. Leaders have to know for themselves before they can lead others. And they have to experience and become they don't have to become their divine human potential. That's not going to happen, in reading 3 series books or coming to my workshops. But it will begin the process, and that's all that's required. You begin. So, I think I've taken up the hour. And does anyone have any questions or thoughts? Concerns?
Yeah, can you give us a living example of a person that we might be able to recognize as having a close, being an example of having that kind of a union or a relationship with the soul and the divine spirit?
Yes. Jesus, Buddha are 2. I'm going to go, I'm a little bit on shaky ground here, but I might as well just speak the truth. If we look at Jesus and Buddha, we're looking at them in the same way that we're looking at us. They're a tripartite divine human being. What was Jesus? He was a divine Son of God. What are you? You may not know it, but he knew it. What about Buddha? He started out as Siddhartha, as a prince in a royal family, and Siddhartha became Buddha. But what was he was looking for and finding? Himself. He wasn't looking to find someone other than himself. If you get the book, God Makes the Rivers to Flow by Sri Eknath Eswaran, it's a compilation of sacred spiritual literature from throughout the world. And there are many places in there that talks about the self. There are 2 that sit at the 2 that sit at the fountain, the higher and the lower. So when we say that in order to, I guess a lot of times we don't even think that we can be a divine human. In fact, that's probably anathema to a lot of people, right? We're not. We're imperfect. We are sinners, and there is no way that we can be a divine human. That's only Jesus' prerogative to be that. But if we think of Jesus and Buddha and Krishna and some of the other amazing great master teachers, we can say, they set the example. They showed us what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to say, I believe in you, Jesus. We're supposed to say, oh, your spirit, mind, your soul, and your body all came together, and we realized it, and we saw you. And what did we do? We were just like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. We could never think that we're going to be like that. That takes nothing away from Jesus, takes nothing away from Buddha. We do have a universal Lord that's above us. So it's not like it's all about us, but we have to find us first. That's the first step, is to go to us, the God in us, and then the journey is the journey of this divine human in God. That's the purpose. So a lot of people are saying, I was at a funeral the other day, and the pastor said, this is all very simple. If you want to go to heaven, do you want to go to heaven? He said. Everybody's nodding, yeah, I want to go to heaven. He said, then all you have to do is say, I believe in Jesus. And then he said, and I don't want to hear about works. I don't want to hear that you're good. I don't want to hear that you've done this. I don't want to hear that you've done that. I only want to hear you say these words. I believe in Jesus. Bless his heart. He's well-meaning, and he believes it, and I believed that too when I was in college and had my born-again Christian days. And that's not to denigrate that. It's just to say that that's what we believed then when we were small. Now we have something greater to believe in and to know. So let's go from, yes, I believe in Jesus, and I believe that I can be like the example of Jesus. And wasn't that why he came? Be ye perfect, even as my Father in heaven is perfect. He says, I am the way. I am the truth. I am the light. What is the way, the truth, and the light? The spirit and the soul and the body coming together. And there you have Jesus, a perfect example. Likewise, Buddha. That was a long answer. Sorry. I'm trying to work on not giving such long answers. Go ahead. Anybody else?
Do you feel, Gail, that you've accomplished that yourself?
Oh,
The joining of the three?
oh, Margot. To a small degree, very small degree. You know, it's an infinite process. There's no just getting there. You know, I have some awareness. I might have a greater awareness because I've been working on this for a very long time. But I would say that I might be in the engagement phase, but I'm definitely not in the marriage phase. Yes?
You know, like a lot of, I mean, this might be overly simple, but. I would like. Oh, I can speak up too. I'll speak up.
They can't hear online.
Oh, okay, sorry. I mean, didn't like a lot of religion and like beliefs, God, Jesus, whatever, because human beings were afraid of what happened when our bodies die, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so how is what you're saying tonight relevant to what happens when you die, when your body dies?
Very good question. I might ask you that. So let me ask you. Okay. What is the body? What is your body made of?
Cells.
But of what? Is it made of Infinity, what is it made of? See, this body is green, and it's matching the earth. The body is made of the earth.
Organic material.
Yeah, it's organic. Okay. When our souls are ready to leave at whatever point, the body disintegrates back into the earth that it was made of. But a human is always a spirit, a soul, and a body. So what body does it take? When it's done with this vehicle, it's not like you take your cars with you, right? You can take your car, get out of your car, you go into another car. Okay, so this is a big, long discussion for another time, my dear. But what I will say to you is this body that you see and you love and you care for and we can see each other in is a treasure. But it goes away for another body, and that's for another time to share with you. But it's a much longer, it's a really great question, but I don't have time to share it with you all now. If you want to talk to me about it, I can talk to you later.
Sure.
But that's the answer. Yes, Lauren?
Thank you, Gail. I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on where we started the discussion this evening, and that is the world seems to be in chaos right now. I heard someone say last night, if the 20th century was the century in which democracies around the world really came into their own to a significant extent, the first 20 or 21 years of the 21st century seems to be just the opposite. Many democracies are slipping into autocracies. Our own democracy is at risk of the same thing. The world is in chaos. So do you have any thoughts about when that critical mass of people that may be required for us to get out of this morass will actually develop, or if it will develop, so that we can indeed, as a species, move beyond where we presently are?
A wonderful question, Lauren. And yes, it is inevitable. It's inevitable that we will mature and grow. Why? Because the Spirit, the perfect Spirit, lives in each one of us, whether we recognize it or not. Eventually, the soul will be wooed. Now, let me ask you a question. What is this moment teaching us? What are we seeing? What is our souls? Now, we're looking at this from our souls, right? Our souls are saying, okay, innate within me is goodness, truth, beauty. I respond to that. Our souls naturally respond to those things. We know they are true because they are who we are. All right, so if we see something that is good, how do our souls respond? Yes, finally, people are taking care of each other. The first responders are there for us. People are loving each other. They're talking. Now what happens? Now you experience, just turn on the TV at any channel you want and watch the news. How does your soul respond? Okay, so the reason, meaning, and purpose for your soul to be on this earth in this body is to experience the difference between goodness, good, a higher good, a lesser good, an absence of good, and then here's the crux of it, you're free. You're free to choose. The Spirit doesn't love you because the Spirit mind in you doesn't love you because you're forced to love Him or God. It loves you because it recognizes that you're free to make your own choices. But how do we learn? How does the soul learn to make a choice? They have to see it for themselves. They have to experience it for themselves. So when we experience a time in our lives collectively, what collectively do we all say? Do we like pandemics? Do we think economic development is bad? You name it. How does our soul feel about that? Well, it feels bad. And we aren't meant to embrace that. We can't embrace it. It's not in our nature to embrace it, so we fight against it. What is happening, I think, is that there has to come a point when things are so good and so bad that the extremes are so revealed that you have to be an idiot not to choose, yeah, I really want to be healthy and happy and at peace and have a job and just live in a normal society. I don't want to live like this. So the fact of the matter is that throughout mankind's history, it has only been the few who have moved society forward. The masses never have been the catalyst for moving society forward. This small room can move the entire society forward, if we could. If we had the knowledge, if we had the ability to communicate, if we could get the right leaders together and communicate in the best way, that's how we're going to do it. The leaders have to be taught because they're the ones that govern. That means the leader in the high school or college, that means the principal, that means the city manager, that means the medical director, that means every leader of every group of people. What do you think would happen if we could get all of these people in a room and say, what about this? Well, then I'd have to give practical examples and train how do you take this information and apply it to your business, to your school, to your church, to the community you serve, to the fire department, to the police department. But the good news is that this is not Gail's standard operating procedure. This is the divine standard operating procedure. And it's about time somebody stood up and said, we have one, and here's how it works, and you can participate too if you want. If you don't, you have the free will not to. This is not about a church, a denomination. You believe whatever you want to believe. This is about the essence of who we are. This is fingers and toes, spirit and soul. That's what this is about. And this takes us deeper from where we are. It doesn't erase anything that we are, anything that we believe. It just expands our minds and says, look, you were looking at it from a perspective of an ant on a train track, and now look what you're doing. You're riding in the train. You're going somewhere. So trust that the intelligence of the divine operating system knows precisely what it's doing. It knows precisely. It's training pan-humanity to choose right from wrong. That's all it is. How do we play on the playground together? Do we want to be bullies? Or do we want to be nice to each other and play together nicely? If you go on my website, there's a picture. I created this picture, and it's of the background is the infinite and unknown. The thing that is in the middle is our known universe, and in a baby's crib is a child looking up at that, and there's a little microscope next to it, and that's who we are in comparison. Look at that. It's a perfect example of where we are. But don't we love our children? Don't we want to nurture them? We don't want to say, Gosh, I can't believe you're a baby. Grow up. No, we don't do that. We love and nurture that baby. That's why this is the perspective that we are. We love who we are now. But let's go on to the next step. Does that help?
It helped a lot. One of the things you said that really was powerful for me is the extremes must be revealed
Oh, yeah,
so that we can choose. And that, I think, is what's happening now.
exactly.
Thank you, Gail. That was profound for me. Thank you.
All right. I'm sure you're done. Oh, my gosh, it's so late. I'm so sorry I took all this time. All right, I'm done.
Wow, thank you, Gail. Well, I think we're all in alignment now. The soul is definitely in alignment after all that. Yeah, that was powerful and very many layers of understanding and awareness. So yeah, I feel like maybe we are on the soul marriage here. Yeah, like you said, there was something you said when you said Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life, the light, the life." And if, like you said, if you believe that you are too, right? The way, the truth, and the light, that's within us. So right where we are then on some level, right? Is this true?
Right.
Yeah? Oh, great, yeah. So that's kind of what came up for me. So yeah, so that was beautiful, very beautiful. It gave me some really great layers of understanding around all that. So thank you again. Yay, thank you. All right, well, thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it. And again, come next Wednesday. I'm going to be doing a nice profound kind of practice on gratitude and expanding the vibration of gratitude and some practices around that. And then come Friday if you can to the sound bath. It's going to be really cool. So, all right. Thank you all. Bye. Have a good night. Thank you.